December 15th, 1999.
A story of hope when you don't have a penny in the bank.
It absolutely doesn't make economic sense to keep this place open. We should have closed it long ago. But look at the people here. We just couldn't.
A story of friendship when you don't have a living relative. How Jews and Christians of all stripes are getting along right in the heart of the Balkans. Tonight, Aunt Rosie's kitchen, a treat for the holidays.
From ABC News, this is Nightline. Reporting from Washington, Ted Koppel.
Hanukkah's over, Christmas is not quite upon us, but no matter what your religious affiliation, you're probably feeling a certain level of stress. It may even be that affluence and rejoicing contribute a little. Have we given all that we can to all that we should? Are we as happy as the season dictates? And if not, why not? Perhaps we need to pay a holiday visit to an almost forgotten corner of the world in a little town called Arad in Romania. Most people there don't have very much to begin with, and we're focusing in on a group of people who have even less. They no longer have their youth. All of the subjects of our story tonight are quite old. Most of them don't have any families, and they certainly don't have a lot of money. What they do have is one another, and a most extraordinary tolerance and affection among people of totally different backgrounds. There are Romanians, of course, and Hungarians, Serbs, Germans, and a small old-age home that is the focus of our program tonight. Writer-photographer Edward Serrata has visited Arad 6 times over the past year, and the vision he has captured of a tiny Jewish community barely flickering in the warm embrace of a larger Christian landscape is a nice holiday story, no matter what your affiliation.
You're looking at the oldest person in an old age home. Only Aunt Rosie, as they call her, doesn't live here. She works here, and then she walks home every night. You've heard about the high cost of caring for the elderly? In the old age home where Aunt Rosie works, the budget for its 12 residents is $1,800 a month. Not each. I mean, it costs $150 a month each to feed and house them. And downstairs in the Seniors Club, which meets in the soup kitchen, these 40 people receive $1,000 a month pension. Not each. These people are getting by on $25 a month each. That's $1,000 for the whole room. So you ask, why are they smiling? Their community is dying. Most of them don't have a living relative to turn to, and their old age home is in danger of being closed down. These people who make up the Jewish community of Arad, Romania, are smiling because they're caring for each other with all the dignity they can muster. And tonight, you're going to witness a lot of dignity. But they're smiling for another reason. In this faraway corner of Europe, near the border of Serbia, Romania, and Hungary, where ethnic hatred has never been a stranger, people here generally still get along. In the kitchen of the Jewish old age home, Romanian Orthodox, Hungarian Catholics, and Jews are all working together. The fresh produce, that comes from Frau Ludwig, one of the last ethnic Germans in town. There's no more Jewish youth choir to sing for the holidays anymore. These students, they're not Jewish. Their teacher at the local music school taught them Hebrew songs, and they're practicing here for Hanukkah. Now remember, This is all revolving around a Jewish old age home and soup kitchen, right in the heart of the Balkans. And here are the players. Here's Juri. He's Hungarian, Catholic, and delivers the Meals on Wheels to around 25 people every day. This is Rodica. She's a Romanian Orthodox and works in the kitchen. Eva, who is Jewish, manages the kitchen and does the shopping. And Ibi, a Hungarian Catholic, is the chief cook. Around the corner is the office of Mr. Schlesinger, the Jewish community president. And in the center of things is Aunt Rosie, who, 30 years past retirement, is holding down 2 jobs in the Jewish community. She's the kosher food supervisor, and she oversees the cleaning ladies who care for the bedridden at home.
I am 93 years old, and I work, so I stay busy. If I couldn't work, I would be very unhappy.
But this old age home and soup kitchen did not have a long shelf life. 12 years ago, there were 40 residents here. Now there are just 12. And who can justify keeping a home open for so few people? After all, the funds to keep this place running come from the American Jewish community.
We should have closed or merged this old age home years ago. We didn't because we really thought that the elderly here should be able to remain in their own town, in their own culture.
But does it make economic sense to keep a place like this open?
It absolutely doesn't make economic sense to keep this place open. We should have closed it long ago. But look at the people here. We just couldn't.
When Mr. Schlesinger was asked how much longer this home should stay open, he had this to say.
I believe that if there is just one Jew here, even then, we should do everything for that person. In Germany, after the war, there was a prison, Spandau, for just one Nazi criminal. We can also say that if there is one Jew here in Arad, we can do everything for him, so he can live in safety and comfort until the end of his days.
Well, that won't be long. Still, Nicky Schoenberger, deaf, blind, and a widower, would have had no place in the world to go except here. And every Saturday he would lead the prayer service, gently fold the prayer shawl he could no longer see, then was led to his room. He couldn't see or hear me as I shot this footage, and when I went back a week later, I learned that Nicky Schoenberger, 91 years old, had died in his sleep.
This is ABC News Nightline, brought to you by OnStar.
When we say that people here in Arad, generally speaking, get along, we mean it. While it comes as no surprise that Rabbi Neumann, who lives 40 miles away, often gives a speech in the Arad Jewish Community Center, one doesn't always expect him to be joined by the Orthodox bishop. That's how things are on a high level. But here's how they play themselves out in daily life. Meet Peter Pataki, 66 years old and developmentally challenged. He is a ward of the Jewish community and lives in the old age home. But there's something special about Peter. He knows his classical music. And even though he can't afford even the cheapest seat at the Philharmonic, he attends every concert and has a season ticket, front row center. And it is given to him by the Arad Philharmonic. When Enel Schlesinger took charge of the community in 1998, he gathered around him a committee of friends, people who would get involved with volunteering and turn this community into something positive, something proactive. He calls these women Clara, Agnes, and of course, Rosie, the gas pedals of the Jewish community.
Our members are fewer and fewer, but their problems are even greater. They are getting poorer, they're getting older, and they have health problems. Money. They get a minimum to survive. With even less money, we try to do more and more, sometimes with success, sometimes not. This minimum they get is something, but one doesn't live only from eating and cleaning. These last survivors of the Holocaust deserve more than that.
Once upon a time, not so long ago, the families who built this great synagogue had factories that exported clothing to Holland and Germany. Now church groups in Holland and Germany send their second-hand clothes here, so that Clara, Naomi, Olga, and the others can use it as a storeroom and then give the things away. But then, one day, Schlesinger had an idea. He cleaned up the old synagogue as best he could, and as if to awaken this great building one more time, he held a festive concert. The Jewish choir came down from Aradia, and 500 people attended. Most of them were not even Jewish, but they came to listen, to appreciate, and to enjoy, while the old Jews in the audience, for this brief moment, could enjoy the memory of a happier time. Just being at this concert reminded me of what Rabbi Neumann of nearby Timișoara told me.
The Kinder, the Serbische Kinder, the Deutsche Kinder,
the children, the Serbian children, the German children, and the Jewish children all lived together. They played together. They went to the same schools together. Friendships here are made in childhood. I'm not saying that every Romanian loves us very, very much. Maybe, just maybe, they hate us. Do we feel it? No, we don't feel it. Friendship between us and the other people, that we do feel.
And just maybe it's that kind of outside support that still keeps this community going and caring for each other. In the office, Mr. Hartman, the bookkeeper, balances an ever-shrinking budget. Mrs. Mashkan counts out the extra cash, $9 a month for community members who live on less than $24 a month pension. And in Aunt Rosie's kitchen, a dozen people still make it by nearly every day for a hot kosher meal. And when we come back, we'll learn just a few of the secrets of this kosher soup kitchen, which just happens to be the very best in all of Central Europe. Thick goulash stews, creamy chopped liver, freshly fried donuts, and cakes you could, pardon the expression, die for. But before you say that this food is fattening, artery clogging, high in cholesterol, just remember, Aunt Rosie's been eating here for dozens of years. That's 93-year-old Aunt Rosie to you. Eva Lovinger, who does the shopping, throws down the gauntlet.
Only good things do I want to buy. For my money, only the good and fine things for us.
Gute kaufen.
This is where Eva Lovinger shops for the soup kitchen and old age home nearly every day. Eva tastes, she buys, she double checks, because every penny counts, and summer is the time to buy, because much of this food will be put away for winter when the market is empty.
I took from my cash box early this morning $35, and now I'm taking back to my cash box $20.
In other words, Eva spent $15 this morning in order to feed 50 people for 2 days. And now, take a look at the care that's put into that $15. While Ibi, the chief cook, along with Zita and Juliana, set to work. Ibi is making a classic, stuffed peppers, which he fills with ground beef, plenty of onions, and adds a dash of herbs. Then she slowly, carefully, brings it all together. As for dessert, Zita begins by adding a little sugar after the apples are peeled and grated. No, make that a lot of sugar. And the mixture is then spread out over the dough, which she makes fresh. Another layer of dough is spread on top, brushed with egg, and a few decorations are also added. Now we head for the oven, and a few minutes later, out comes something wonderful, something golden, and served with pride to people who cannot afford a decent meal on their own. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, 25 meals are prepared for Jury and Zita to deliver to people like Mrs. Lakatosh. And another 12 are sent upstairs to the old age home. After lunch, Aunt Rosie tends to her other job.
I am dividing up the jobs for the cleaning ladies who take care of our poor community members in the town. And I write out for them the names and addresses of where they should go to clean. And I have them bring me a proper receipt showing they did their work.
And although Aunt Rosie might not say so, she also likes being part of her community. Her father had a kosher butcher shop back before World War I. She met her late husband at a Jewish party in 1925. She was an administrator in the city's last Jewish school in the late 1940s. And now she works for that same Jewish community that she was born into 93 years ago. 10,000 Jews lived here then. 180 live here now. So could there really be anything to celebrate here in Arad, Romania? The answer is yes. They just celebrated Hanukkah. The synagogue was swept. The heaters were cranked up for 2 days to chase away the cold. The music school sent over its non-Jewish choir. The Orthodox bishop attended. And the synagogue was almost full. As I watched this brightest of Jewish holidays, I was reminded of a story in the Talmud about a rich and a powerful man. He was the richest man in his village, and he traveled everywhere on a beautiful white horse. Now in time, this man lost all his money, his family, even his beautiful white horse. So the rabbi of the village gathered the people together and said, "We must help this man live in the fashion in which he was accustomed." So the people of the village, although they were not rich, pooled their funds and bought for this man another beautiful white horse. I am convinced that the Jewish community of Arad is that man. He is rich no longer, he is powerful no longer, but he does deserve to live a life of dignity. The rabbi of the story? Well, that would be Mr. Schlesinger. And the people of the village, you've met them tonight. Eva does the shopping. Ibi does the cooking. And Aunt Rosie has a place to go every day to help others, who in turn help her. Now that sounds to me like a very rich man indeed. This is Edward Serrata in Arad, Romania, for ABC News Nightline.